If everyone in the back of the room could grab a seat. The good people are sitting down. We're good on Zoom and on sound, guys? Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'll try that one more time to make sure I have everyone's attention. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are here tonight, both those of us who are in the audience or here in the kahal in our sanctuary, and those who are watching us on the internet. Well, we're here together to welcome Shabbat. And it is wonderful to have everyone here wherever you are, physically present or not. So I need this group out here and those at home to first go, shh. And we're going to still our bodies. There's a lot of good energy in here tonight, a lot of good energy. We're going to still our bodies. We're going to sit down. I want to take that big deep breath in to welcome in Shabbat. And hold it. And let it out. Another big deep breath in. Hold it and let it out. And one more deep breath in. Hold it and let it out. And now Joel will lead us in a nigun.
Yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai 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 rai 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 rai. Yallai rai rai rai, yallai rai rai rai, yallai rai rai rai, yai rai 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 rai, yallai rai rai rai, yallai rai rai rai, yallai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai. Yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai rai 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 rai, yai 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 rai 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 rai, yallai rai rai rai, yallai rai rai rai. Yallai rai rai rai, yai rai rai rai, yallai rai rai rai, yallai rai rai rai, yallai rai rai rai, yai rai rai rai.
This week's Torah portion is Shalach Lacha, and Shalach Lacha, let's see if the camera can even stay with me. Shalach Lacha is one of my favorite Torah portions. And people will ask me, well, what happens in Shalach Lacha that is so important? And I always say it's the story of the 12 spies. How many people here know that story? So a couple of you know the story. And this story is really the turning point, well, in the journey of the Israelites. They're about a year and a few months out of Egypt. And guess what? They already have a judicial system. They already have a series of princes and leadership. They have so much in place, and they're ready to go into the land of Canaan. And so what do? They send 12 spies, and actually 12 tribal leaders, into the land. And they scout it for 40 days. That mystical number that comes up over and over again, that number 40. And they come back, and they say to the Israelites, this land is filled with milk and... Thank you very much. They say it's an amazing land, but the problem is they're Nephilim, they're giants. And there are other people we need to be scared of. We will be destroyed. And the people say, why did you bring us here? Moses, why did you bring us to this land? We are going to die there. And they forget about the journey they started, the journey of hardship. They forget about that 400 years plus of slavery. They forget about those 10 plagues. They forget about crossing that sea of reeds. They forget about everything they've experienced over the past year. And they're ready to stop their journey and go back. And God realizes that at this moment that they need to wander. Wander for a total of 40 years. 1 year for each day they scouted. And some of us, when we read the Torah so quickly, we miss this moment. We don't realize that until this time, we are supposed to go straight into the land. And if we just had faith in our journey, if we just had faith in our travels, we would have made it to the promised land. And we wouldn't have had to wait for the next generation. And tonight, later in this service, I'm going to be blessing everyone who's taking a trip this summer, whether you're here or whether you're on the internet with us, because we want to take our journeys. We want to move forward. We don't want to stop them early. We want to feel the power of completing that journey, of learning something new as we move forward. And so now we've got some more prayer for you. We're going to turn to page 138 for Lachad Odi, and we're going to be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 just to change things up. No, those are the verses we do every week. I'm sorry.
Lecha dodi likra kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likra kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi Lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Ishmi'anu el hamiוחד Adonai echad ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת ולתהילה לך תודי לך דודי לקראת כלה B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki mekor habracha merosh מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekabela לך דודי לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekabela התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekabela לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצוהלה, מתוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
You may be seated. We turn to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem. In Shalom Aleichem, we have the angels who enter our lives each Shabbat. They come, they bless us, and they move on to the next home or the next sanctuary. So let's welcome those angels and let's feel their presence and let us feel their blessings. Shalom Aleichem, page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barechuni leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
For candle lighting tonight, I'd like to ask anyone who's traveling with Lisa and with me to Israel to come forward. We're taking 20 people to Israel, and I think at least 7 or 8 of them are in the room tonight. So why don't you guys come forward? Tonight we will be here, and on Wednesday night we'll all be having dinner together in Israel. In just 4 nights, 5 nights, I can't do the math, 5 nights from now. So why don't you guys come forward and light our Shabbat candles? We had everyone who's going to Israel with us over Shabbat dinner last week. I've learned that if you give them food, you get a bigger crowd. If you guys could come forward and light our candles.
Yai rai 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 rai. Yai rai 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 rai. Yai rai 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 rai. Yai rai 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 rai.
Let's bring in one's for good travels, one's for peace, and one's for, well, Shabbat rest.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav V'tzivanu lehadlik ner V'tzivanu lehadlik ner V'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat.
Next time we'll all be saying this together, we'll be in Israel, so I look forward to traveling with everybody. And don't worry, we're going to get all the travelers up in a few minutes. Don't worry. We now turn to page 146 for the Baruch Hu. Please rise and face the ark if you are able. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Ba'ed HaMevorach Le'olam Ba'ed. Please remain standing. Take a moment and hear the quiet of Shabbat. Now take a hand and cover your eyes. Focus on your own heartbeat as Joel leads us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated. We turn to page 154 for the V'hafta, a prayer that speaks about how we should love God with all our heart, with all our might, with all our soul, with all our presence. And we show that love by speaking about the lessons we've learned from Judaism to our children and to future generations. V'hafta, page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Turn to page 159 and let us read together as a way to introduce the Micha Mocha. Page 159. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generation to come, the song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Micha Mocha, page 158.
Lai lai lai, ya da 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 da, ya lai lai lai, ya la lai la lai, ya lai la lai lai, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. יאי לי לי, יאי רה 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 רה, יאי לי, יאי רה יאי לה לי לה לי, יאי לי לה לי לי, יאי רה 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 רה, יאי רה רה רה.
Let's turn to page 162 for Vishamru. Vishamru reminds us to observe Shabbat. And when it talks about observing Shabbat, well, as a Reformed community, we have to decide what that means. How do we take time out and, well, look at this day and make it special? Do we spend more time with family? Do we ignore our email for a day? Do we come to Shabbat services? What do we do to make this day stand out? And once we find a way to make Shabbat stand out, well, then we are protecting it and guarding it for future generations. Vishamru, page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We turn to page 371 for the Misha Berach prayer. Tonight on our Misha Berach list, Abby Rapport, Janet Blake, Pam Branner, Lynn Newman, Susie Suchovieski, Sharon Friedman, Diana Carew, Jeff Borowitz, Mark Mann, Erwin Ames, Dara LaValle, Jeffrey Albaum, Baylor Robinson, Ed Edelson, Mark Jeff Stickler, Leanne Rosenberg, Trish Santana, David Berger, the Ray family, Dory Glazer, Glenn Martin, Paul Hiddleman, Micah Enber, Victor Sidlow, Sharon Fisher, Mike Bergman, Michael Burton, Andrea Schlossberg, Nancy Velez, Lisa Sage, Levi Hugendorn, Sue Duenas, Ryan Spears, the Nolan family, Debbie Schwartz, and Rachel Rapport. We also think of those affected by acts of anti-Semitism and bigotry, those suffering in the Ukraine, those injured due to border challenges, those healing from all too frequent gun violence, those affected by terrorist attacks and environmental challenges, and also all those caring for the ill. If you have an additional name for our Misha Berach list, please share it with me now. Misha Berach Avatenu V'Imatenu. May the God of our ancestors grant our Fuah Shlema a complete and full healing to all those named tonight and to all those we hold in our hearts. And together we say,
Amen.
The singing of Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Ve'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We turn to page 164 of the Amidah, the standing prayer. I ask you to rise if you're able. Prayer invites. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. We are on page 164.
Adonai, שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei avotenu veimotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הצל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue silently through page 180. When you're done with your silent prayer, you may be seated.
עוזי וזמרת ים ויהי לי לישועה 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 עוזי וזמרת ים ויהי לי לישועה.
Shalach Lacha, this week's Torah portion, is such a wealth of stories. And especially after leaving the book of Leviticus, which is filled with archaic law after archaic law, it's refreshing to be in Numbers and to hear the stories. So there's a story I wanted to speak about just for a few moments. It's a short morality tale. It's actually a pretty disturbing tale. Think of the most terrifying show on Netflix, and you'll probably get the idea. What's that show called that just had a new season? Black Mirror. It's almost like an episode of Black Mirror. See, what happens is we're given a law, and the law says anyone who is caught collecting firewood on Shabbat should be put to death. Does that seem a little extreme to you all? Yeah, a little extreme, but that's what the Torah teaches us. So what happens? Well, the Torah quote tells us, Adonai said to Moses, the party in question shall be put to death. The community leadership shall pelt him with stones outside the camp. This is what God says when a man actually goes and collects firewood on a Shabbat. So all he's doing is he's collecting firewood, but he's outside the camp. He's walked away. And when they bring him back, this is the command God gives. Put to death, stone him. And what does the community do? They listen to God and they do it. For collecting some wood, to me this seems like an overreaction. Anyone else feel like this is an overreaction? Bit of one? Maybe a little bit. And the interesting thing is, once the man is stoned, the Torah doesn't say anything more. It goes directly into information, directly into the third paragraph of the Shema. Because as you know, what we sing is just the introductory line. There are actually 3 paragraphs that follow it that comprise the full Shema, with the first paragraph being the V'ahavta. And the last paragraph speaks about the tzitzit. So we go from a man being stoned to God saying, speak to the Israelite people and tell them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments. Let them look at them and recall and observe them, that you should do all the good deeds that are holy to your God. So immediately after the killing of this man, we find out that we're supposed to look at this and remember good deeds. There's a midrash, a Jewish story, that takes this idea a bit further. And it speaks about a person who falls from a boat into the water. And the captain stretches out a rope and tells him to take firm hold of it, for his life depends on it. And then he drags the man back onto the boat. And this midrash goes on to say, the rope is like tzitzit, and the drowning man is like each one of us. And the captain is the embodiment of all the good we can do, of all that is holy. So we have these fringes. We're supposed to look upon them to remind ourselves to do good stuff, to do commandments traditionally, and within the progressive movement, just to think about how we should act in the world. And you begin to wonder, why are these two stories, right next to one another? And I have to believe it's because no man was ever stoned for collecting firewood. I've got to believe that that's just a metaphor. It's a metaphor for someone who's inside a community, inside of a place of holiness and goodness, and drifts too far out. They drift out to do something they really shouldn't do as a human being. And what happens to them? At some point they die that metaphorical death. They're no longer part of the community. They don't need to be stoned to death. They've just drifted too far. And so God is saying, when you feel yourself starting to drift, or our Torah is starting to tell us, think about the good deeds you should do. Think about your connections, the knots that bind each one of us. So while there's no comment about this man being stoned, I think there is a comment. And that comment is that third paragraph of the Shema that immediately follows this story. It's to remind us that if we drift too far away from what we're supposed to be doing, we drift too far off the journey we're supposed to be taking through life, then we too, die a metaphorical death. So when we look at our seat, our lifelines to that which is holy, to the actions we should take, we can return to a more holy life. It's our job to look upon these seat, to remind us to follow the right path and to not be cut off from family, friends, or society. We don't want to be like that woodcutter, cut off from what he was supposed to do, out of step with everyone and everything. So this Shabbat, let us return our focus to performing mitzvot and doing what is right, so that we remain a vital part of our community, or communities, able to help change the world for a better. And together we say, now this is the tough part, because I want everyone who is traveling this summer. I'm going to end summer, say on Labor Day weekend. Is that a good call for you guys? And everyone out there in TV land or in Zoom land. But I'd like everyone to come forward. And I'm going to do the rule that if you're going to be more than a 2-hour car ride from LA, then you're traveling this summer, even if it's only for an afternoon at the beach in Santa Barbara, because I'm counting in traffic. And if you are, then come on forward and join us right up here. How about right behind the table? And I'm hoping this is everyone in the room. No, not taking any car trips this summer? Tina, none? Okay. Come on forward. Flying and everything, wherever you're going. Anywhere you might be going in the world, if you're going to be more than 2 hours car drive from LA, you are a traveler, and we're going to offer you the traveler's prayer. Come on together, come forward. Santa Barbara counts because of traffic. That's because it could take you 2 hours. Okay, I'll bring that up in a minute. Let's get everyone to the center stage. Center stage. Karen and Lisa, center stage. Let's get everybody. If you know each other, put your arm around one another. If you don't, then ask permission.
May I take 2 joyous gifts? No. Okay.
First of all, I want to wish everyone good travels this summer, wherever you may be going, for however long or short you might be going there. May you have new adventures on your journeys. May you find ways to expand who you are, or at least to take that deep breath and to remember who you are as you travel forward. So I'm going to read a traveler's prayer, and then Joel is going to sing to you, because everyone loves to have Joel sing to them.
What about Shoshana?
She can do it too, of course. Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu. Shetolichenu l'shalom. May be your will, Adonai our God, the God of our ancestors, to lead our travelers in peace, to guide them towards new insights, and to direct their steps towards knowledge. May you, God, open their eyes to new worlds as they travel through foreign and not so foreign lands. May you open their hearts to the stories of those who came before them, or just a great sandy beach. And may you transform them because of their travels away from home. Blessed is the holiness found within these travelers. Blessed is the holiness that listens to their prayers. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea tefillah, and together we say, Amen. And now Joel will sing a blessing to you, and to you out there too, if you're joining us in standing.
Lechi lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach.
And one quick announcement to everyone here and to everyone out there. Sam Wildman, who's joining me in Israel, if you would like to send a note to be put on the wall, give it to Sam or email it to her, and she will make sure it gets there. And now I'm going to ask everyone to return to their seats. Tina DeGan, who has announcements. And now Tina DeGan has announcements. I'm making a run back. It's funny, people are always on the... Why don't I just put you right in front of the bima?
Oh, okay, that way I'm not hidden.
You're not hidden, and that way I can look up my page for the next prayer.
Shabbat Shalom. It's
Shabbat Shalom.
wonderful to see everybody here this evening. Thank you, Rabbi John and Cantor Soloist Joel, for this beautiful, meaningful service. Blessing all us travelers. Wishing everybody safe travels this summer. Thank you to Lindsay and David for perfecting this service so people can watch it at home. Well, this Tuesday is trivia night. It is hosted by our one and only Wayne Schulman. Wayne, woo-hoo. So join our Renaissance group as Wayne challenges all of us to trivia about Broadway. All ages are welcome. You don't have to be of Renaissance age to have fun. You can visit our website to find out about our party book this summer. Lorene is sponsoring her Martinis and Weenies event. Mara is one of the hosts for Bunko, so if you have questions about that, she can answer that. And then my husband, who roasts coffee, is hosting a coffee tasting event where I think he has 6 or 10, I'm not sure how many coffee beans from around the world. So look it up and come join. Do you love to sing? Have you always wanted to be part of our choir? Well, you have a chance this fall to be part of our High Holy Day services. So talk to Cantor Soloist Joel, and I think our first rehearsal is August 15th. We're continuing to support Pride Month. Tonight, tzedakah will be given to the Trevor Project. Their mission is to end suicide amongst LGBTQ young people by providing crisis support, advocacy, research, and education. If tonight's your first time joining us this evening, I'll meet you over when we have the oneg, and I look forward to having a conversation. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Tina. We now turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. On our recently departed list, Michael Cronin, remembered by the Cronin family. Sylvia Nemiroff, remembered by the Birnbaum family. Marilyn Baum, remembered by the Mandel family. Robert Zelinka, remembered by the Zelinka Lai family. We also hold in our prayers those taken by gun violence, those that have passed due to floods, fires, and other natural and unnatural disasters, those who have passed in the LGBTQ community that have no one but us to say Kaddish for them, and those killed in regional conflicts. We also think of those who died during this season in years past. Shirley Belgrade, Richard Chayat, Edward Cohen, Adele Eisenberg, Charlotte Esmer, Shirley Garson, Janine Gregory, Alan Kazan, Joyous Leiterman, Avraham Mishan, Miriam Newborn, Milton Newborn, Claire Payne, Maxine Sherb, Lois Seawack, Rochelle Springer, Rose Steingold, Irving Steinman, and Faye Winehouse. If you have an additional name for our Kaddish Yortzeit list, please share it with me now. If you're in the first 7 days of mourning, Shiva, I ask you to please rise. If you're in the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim, I ask you to rise. If you're in the first year of mourning, I ask you to please rise. If you're observing a Yortzeit, please rise. These are the mourners in our midst. We rise to show them our love and our support. We are on page 598. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach hirutei v'yamlech malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kari v'imru. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarak le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tishbachata v'nechamata damiran b'alma v'imru Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, v'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel, and to all humankind. And together we say, I'm going to ask my wife to come forward and hold our challah tonight. Our Kiddush cup and then our challah. And why don't we try to get everybody up on the bima? Maybe not. Yes, no, do people? Are we scared of, we already had everybody up here once. Why don't we get everybody up here too for Kiddush and Hamotzi, if you're comfortable. Oh, I forgot about the closing song. Come on up as we do the closing song. My apologies. I've done that twice last month.
Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. לחיים. יום יום יום. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתיאבון.
Shabbat Shalom, come get some challah. Shabbat Shalom out on TV land. And then go get some oneg. Oh, this is the good one, like the really bready one. What? It's like the really bready one. Have you ever tasted this? And it's really good.